How would you personally define self-love?
Like, you're not going to wake up one morning and be like, oh, I love myself.
Self-love is a process, not a destination. How do we want to jump into this thing? What are we talking about?
Well, I do want to point out that we are unintentionally matching same person, different font again. Where did you get this top from?
I think I thrifted this, but it's originally from Target. Old school Target. I'm pretty sure. I have not been on my clothes buying journey. We've already talked about how I am a Nuuly gal, even though I did not rent my Nuuly this month. January has been a very low spend, we're chilling out month because, as I've mentioned before, we have financial goals that we're doing this year. So I've really been pulling out the old reliables from the back of the closet. This is one of them. But yeah,
Nope.
This is thrifted.
That's good. You're supposed to get as much wear out of your clothing as possible. But the fact that you kept it and then still so stylish shows that you picked a good staple piece.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So your top is also very cute. You have a very academic vibe going on. Where's this top from?
I got this from Nordstrom Rack. Also frugal, but still a little bit in luxury with Nordstrom, it being a Nordstrom brand. But this is actually an off-season DKNY top. I haven't bought DKNY since I was or haven't worn DKNY since I was in my early teens when it was popping off. The 2000s, everybody was wearing Donna Karan, all that cute stuff. She had her streetwear line, all that, and it kind of died off. And then I saw this in Nordstrom Rack, and I was like, oh, this is quite nice. And I love the knit and the color. So yeah, shout out to Donna Karan.
We love a timeless quality piece. And that era is back in full swing. So we're just going to say we made it cool first, guys. Remember here, you can talk all the smack you want on millennials, but all the stuff we were wearing is all the stuff you think is cool. All those things that sort of like you were just saying, the things that are in the back of your closet and you don't really touch for a while. And then somehow that trend comes back in style and you're like, oh, I have something that matches just that. Like I said, I haven't been really clothing shopping recently, but there are a few pieces that have been on my wish list that I'm sort of waiting for the right time to snatch them up. Just to, constantly be expanding the wardrobe, elevating, get the quality pieces, being very intentional about it. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on that. You would rock that episode.
I was literally just thinking about the cycle of fashion and style and curating your personal style and how when you buy something, a good piece, you can wear it for so long because it cycles. Yeah, a whole episode on creating your personal style and creating the perfect capsule wardrobe. I'm gonna have to do that.
I think I need that episode. I think you need to teach me and we'll record it and we'll call it an episode.
Well, I can't say I've perfected it at all. I'm still constantly learning about my body, learning what looks good on it as it changes and as I grow, learning to accept my body for what it is. And that ebbs and flows with fashion as well, because sometimes you want a trendy piece or sometimes you got to stick to some old reliables, like realizing that a collared top, me specifically with a deeper V-neck, looks great.
Yes. I need to learn more about specific silhouettes and things. Need to dig some more into that. But
we can get into that, girl.
Yes. That'll be another episode of the Plan With Us podcast. Where we are today. Hello everyone. Welcome.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Plan With Us pod. My name is Niara Gore.
And my name is Jessica Raney. We are your co-hosts of the fabulous Plan With Us podcast. I did want to make a housekeeping note right at the beginning of this episode because it was something that I changed some bits and pieces of the last episode but I don't know if anyone picked up on it. Plan with Us podcast is no longer on TikTok. Just wanted to put that out there. At this point, when we're recording this, it is after all of the TikTok ban drama went down. The infamous, is it down? Is it back? But Niara and I have met and decided mutually that for our goals and for this year, we're going to put all of our effort into YouTube and Instagram and just let TikTok go. Let it be its own thing. So moving forward, you will hear us say and see on our episodes that you can find us exclusively on Instagram and YouTube.
Great point too, because we don't want anybody getting confused either.
Because yeah, I removed the little TikTok icon, but at the end of our last episode, we're like, we'll let you know. So we're letting you know, keeping our girlies in the know.
This episode will be coming out the first week of February, I believe.
Yes. Welcome to February, everyone. Chapter 2, 2025. We're here.
Welcome to the month of love. And as we get into the month of love, this kind of goes into our topic, hence why we're wearing cute pinks and, have our outfits coordinating. If you're not watching, Jess is wearing a gorgeous pink collared top, which is what we were describing earlier. Beautiful berry and rose tones in the makeup. The hair is beautiful. She is just glowing. She is radiating love.
She's just talking me up over here. I'm just like pruning myself here. I'm like, oh my goodness. This girl knows how to hype me up. And Niara is wearing a stunning ribbed cream collared top. She also has the glowy, rosy, ethereal vibe going on with her cheeks and her lips. And I believe I see some heart-shaped earrings going on.
You do. These are from our event last year. One of our giftings for all of our lovely girlies were from Jagged Halo Jewelry. She's from New Jersey, and she made these beautiful, they're like spiked heart-shaped hoops. Obsessed with them. I'm wearing them in gold today. Check out Jagged Halo. She's amazing.
We love Jagged Halo. All of her style is so cool. All of her pieces are so fun. I know you've been a long-time fan, but you introduced me to them. And while this episode is not sponsored by them, we love all of their stuff. So you should go check them out. But yes, I sort of brought forth the concept for today's episode of being a very love, specifically self-love centered episode. All of your goals, your hopes, your dreams, all that progress can really be influenced by your definition of self-love, how you view yourself, a lot of self-confidence. So we really wanted to sort of like dig into that today. Of course, I always am like, we're going to have a nice lighthearted episode. And then I'm like, let's talk about the definition of loving ourselves, Let's just like get really, really deep. We can't make anything lighthearted, y'all. We got to like get into the meat of it every single episode. But I'm excited to discuss this with my girl and with you guys.
Yeah, so excited to get into this. What I love about this, what's so important is that a lot of times with this month in particular, there's a big focus on like outward love, loving others, romantic love, dates, your relationships, all that kind of stuff, lovey-dovey things. But we often forget ourselves. So this is a month of love. Mainly what we're going to be talking about, which is really important to us here at the Plan With Us Pod, is self-love.
Well, first things first, and this is a loaded question right out of the gate. Niara, how would you personally define self-love? And there's no wrong answer here, so don't be nervous. I'm not going to be like, well.
Well, self-love, I think, comes from so many different things, but I really just think it's accepting and loving yourself for all that you are, flaws, imperfections, the things you're good at as well, the things that make you different, things that make you unique, your strengths, your weaknesses. Like self-love is the epitome of where love has to start in order for you to even really love others, I feel like. And it's something I'm still learning how to do myself. I constantly struggle with it, as to where I feel like I do love myself, but then there are moments where I don't know how to show it, you know?
Yes. To struggle with self-love is to be human. I think everyone can very much relate to that. There's no person who loves themselves perfectly, because there's also no relationship where you can love others perfectly. But I think you hit the nail right on the head in what I think my definition of self love is. Our answers are very similar in that self love can be an all encompassing thing. There's a lot of different categories and divots and aspects of self love. I think self esteem, self confidence, self worth, like all of those things fall into the category of self love, though all sort of deviate in small ways. But overarchingly, I think self love is the internal voice in yourself, how you talk to yourself about yourself, which is a huge, huge thing. Because at the end of the day, if you were the only person on earth and you were having that inner dialogue with yourself, what would that dialogue sound like? And for a lot of us, unfortunately, it's kind of a toxic relationship. So I think it's important to continue to work on it, continue to grow. It matters so much in so many different aspects because it can greatly impact your mental health. It can impact your relationships with others, whether it's friends, family, romantic partners, coworkers, and it can really impact, like I said at the beginning of the episode, your goal setting, your personal growth. It really stems into everything that you do.
For sure. I love that you brought up the mental aspect of it and like the inner aspect of like speaking to ourselves, and it's also about how we think about ourselves, because a lot of times, and even when I think I was describing it, I said a lot of like outward things or physical tangible things that can be seen and shown, but it does start like with your center too. It starts with you like understanding and giving yourself that grace that we always say, and like loving yourself for who you are, with how you think, how you speak, and just understanding that you deserve the same amount of love that you give out, or that you would give to your best friend, or that you would give to a partner, or anything like that. So the mental part of it, I think, is the most taxing and the hardest thing that we all face when it comes to self-love.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's all internal unless you choose to share it with others. Like I know we've had conversations about other topics in the past that will say, I've had a deep conversation with my husband about this. I've had a deep conversation with a close friend about this. But a lot of the times these conversations are happening within ourselves. And it obviously outer influences can have an impact on it, like societal pressures, childhood traumas, how people are speaking about certain topics around you, the political climate, like so many different things can sort of impact and change your self image, and it's constantly changing. It does come down to some sort of core inside you that when you break down all those barriers, this is how you feel about yourself. So it's a very, very deep and intense topic that we're going to try to make digestible. We are not professionals. We are just two girls who have gone on our own self-love journeys and are continuing to do so. And we want to have a conversation about it. I'm also going to say a saying that is so common now, which is self-love isn't selfish. And working on it is something that is integral to, all the things you just mentioned. We often give so much love to other people, but if you were to think about sort of the attitude you have towards the people that you love most, and then you think about your attitudes towards yourself, most of the time, those aren't going to line up. So you're giving and pouring out all this love for so many other people. But then when it comes to how you treat yourself, there can often be a disconnect.
That's that thought, that saying that you said of self-love isn't selfish really started to come forward during the pandemic, when people had to slow down and really sit with themselves for the first time, and for a long time. People had to like reevaluate what they thought made them worthy, what they thought gave them value, and all this busyness in life, and realizing that in those moments, like we have been neglecting ourselves for so long, and not, showing our body the kindness it needs, eating the right things, exercising, not taking the time to take care of ourselves, not taking the time to rest. And it became almost a true reflection time of, wow, I need to start putting myself first so I can be the best version of myself that I possibly can be. And I feel like there were two sides of it where people really started to embrace themselves and realize that that's when they started getting into like um, different rituals and exercises and things for themselves that they started implementing to their daily lives that they realized they needed. And then there were people that were like, oh, like, no, I need to, like, thinking about myself is a very selfish thing. So I don't like putting myself first. Some people completely turned away from it. And it became like, I feel like an online debate of what really is self love and where it should stem from, or if people are more so starting to be almost conceited or narcissistic in a way. It was a real big, like, back and forth. But I think for me, during that time is when I really started to realize that I need to take care of myself better and I need to show more love to myself. That started my whole skincare journey. Before 2020, I didn't really have a skincare routine and I didn't take care of my skin, and I had cystic acne and really bad eczema, and I was a mess, y'all. My hair was, that's when I was in my mohawk era and was shaving my head. Like, I was a completely different person before 2020. And once that hit and I had to sit with myself and I had to be like, oh my gosh, my value, my productivity, all these projects and all this work I'm doing, I can't do it. So I had to sit with myself and understand what it means to love myself. It was a very weird time for me in my life.
It was a very interesting time to sort of sit with yourself and to really only be able to focus on yourself because you really had very little control of what was going on around you. But yeah, at that time, it makes me think of my small business that I had. I did a lot of like greeting cards and things that made you smile and colorful and things. And then after 2020 um, went down per se, it really shifted into a brand that was focused on self-love and self-encouragement and encouragement to take the time to take care of yourself and love yourself, specifically for creatives and small business owners and the people that I was having everyday conversations with online, because I was seeing how much people were struggling with this concept of, you know, I'm a creative and I don't see a need for, my art in the world anymore, or I'm a small business owner and my business is crumbling around me. And it was really hard for people to sort of like take a minute to really just focus on themselves and check in with themselves and see how they're doing. And it was a struggle for me as well. So that's why I sort of made that project into that act for myself. Yeah, I wrote the self-love isn't selfish little saying in there just because I hear it so often. But I didn't even stop to think about where it sort of originated from. Because right now it feels like something that's such a common saying. Like it's kind of normal now. So it's funny to see how quickly things change.
Yeah, I feel like the mental health aspect of it just became such a big thing for years ago, and now everybody, it's not that it's taboo, but now everybody uses it. Like the self-care, self-love um motto is now being has been latched onto so many things. But I think it's so important to still make sure you're centering it for yourself truly, and that you're prioritizing yourself and your wellness and your heart and your soul and your mind, rather than attaching it to outward validation of what self-love should look like, because it can be different for everyone.
Like I was sort of saying in my definition of self-love, there can be different facets of it and different areas of it, and you can feel stronger in some than others. Like, for instance, I feel like self-confidence and self-love are very similar things, but also very different. Um, like I could say myself as a teenager was a very confident person, but I didn't necessarily love myself as I should. Confidence, I feel like, comes a lot from external factors, like what people think of you, your skills, how you perform. You can build confidence in those things. Self love, you strip all of that away. It's You on your good days, it's you on your bad days. How do you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror and you look absolutely gorgeous and stunning? And then when you look in the mirror and you're really feeling the winter uglies, do you love yourself in both of those forms?
And just like any relationship, it's constantly growing and changing, like you're saying. There's no destination to self love. It's always a new discovery, or it's always some new way of looking at how you view things, or how you view yourself, or how things impact you, and things like that. I really resonated with what you just said with the confidence and the self love factors, and how they're not always synonymous. And I do think that, like, we both, I think, are very confident people. Like, we're very confident in ourselves, and we always have been. But I think as we've gotten older and just learned to love ourselves more, that confidence is not just like not to say confidence is ever a facade, but not, it wasn't like a show to show like, oh, I'm so confident, I'm bubbly, I have this big personality, whatever. But now it's like, I'm confident in myself and knowing who I am, that I'm able to step out into the world and be exactly who I am. And that's a huge difference.
Yes,
Self-love is
girl.
a big part of that.
Yes, girl. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, the journey's crazy. And then I think the most important thing, something that this is the point I'm at in my life now, is I'm constantly working on growing my self-love and having the confidence and the respect for myself to set boundaries and have high. Niara's just like closing her eyes and snapping.
Yes. Yes.
Because yeah, as I'm sort of talking it through and I'm really thinking and I'm really trying to like go step by step here, thinking about like when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, and now I'm fully an adult, we see a difference, whether it's from year to year or decade to decade. And I can only hope that it will continue to grow.
I think that's something that I've always thought about with you, is that sometimes when I compare myself to you and just the way we react to things or people or relationships and things, I'm always looking at you like, oh, she is just so open and loving to everyone. You know, she just
It's true.
she lets everyone in. She sees the good in everyone, and that there is such good in that, because you are so open and loving, and people are attracted to your kind spirit, which is like me. Like, I want to be more open and loving and attract more people. But I grew up, and especially since when I moved out of my home and started like kind of getting away from my family, I've always been a boundary setter. I've been a very strict boundary setter, and people can have disagreed with how I did it and stuff. And even me looking back too, it was a little harsh at times. But I'm a very big protector of my peace, which is how I show myself self-love, even though that now I'm realizing it had the opposite effect of kind of isolating myself from people. So I do have to be more open so I can have more like better relationships and stuff. But protecting my peace has always been a huge thing to me, a huge priority. And I will cut off or stop talking and do whatever to anyone or anything that I feel like threatens that self peace. So I feel like when we, like, especially when we were in college, those were very different, like, personalities in that way, as to where like we'd all be friends, we'd be chilling, but me, I'd be like, all right, I'm done with this person. Like, I was done at the drop of a hat once I realized it wasn't working. But then I would look at you and be like, man, why can't I just be like more open or forgiving or this, that, and the third? But then you're getting older and you're like, maybe I've let too many people in the circle. Not everybody has to. There's seasons of friends. Maybe some people need to not be a part of it. But it's very interesting just to see how we've grown up, and seeing how things play out in our lives, and what we realize is important to us, and how that affects us when we were teenagers to now.
Yes. I'm learning about myself that I have some people pleaser tendencies, that yes, I've always been a very open and warm and welcoming person, which is something that I never want to go away. That is something that I love about myself. That can
Yes,
be
we all
seen.
love that.
That could be seen as, this is a perfect example, actually. That is something that could be seen as a flaw to some people. That is something that can be seen as an example. But that is something that I feel is very genuine to my core and that I love about myself. I'm learning more about it day by day. And I do think I have improved significantly in the past few years of my life. I feel like I'm very much a person that my arms are very open, my heart is very open, no matter how long we haven't spoken to each other. You can slide my DMs, you can call me, you can text me, and I'll be like, hey girl, how's your life going? I want to know what's going on. But that can also become physically very exhausting if you're trying to keep up that level of friendship with like everyone you know. So, yes, protecting your peace a little bit, being a little bit selective about who you spend your day-to-day time with, but still keeping your heart open to people and opportunities is a balance. I think it's really interesting to think about. And the differences, yeah, in both of our experiences.
The differences with us, I love it so much because we are alike in a lot of ways, but we're also almost opposites when it comes to like I think that when I look at us, I'm like, there's nobody I'm more alike and different from. You know,
Mhm.
does that make sense? It's like we fit so perfectly together because we have such different experiences, backgrounds, and perspectives to bring together in these kinds of situations. And when you were talking about how like you haven't spoken to a friend in a long time and they can DM you or reach out to you and you pick it right back up and it's a genuine friendship and all that, it's funny because people are afraid to DM me.
They're like, you don't even want to,
They're
don't
like,
even touch that.
Niara doesn't even want to talk to nobody. And part of that is true. Okay, but I'm trying to
We're here to
be.
confirm the rumors are true.
Part of that is true, and it's me being so guarded. So that's a part of self-love that also I'm trying to just like open my heart. And I think that also reflects back into myself where I'm even too guarded for myself with allowing myself space to be and be present or be at peace or try new things and things like that. The same way I guard myself from other people, I'll tend to also guard things that will help me grow as a person. And those are things that I'm learning in this self-love journey of mine. It's just so funny to like hear both sides of it. But I have it made me think of a story because at work right now we're going through something where I'm basically the manager at work right now because we have a situation going on. I'm in charge. I don't like being in charge because when I'm in charge, everybody has to talk to me. And I don't like that. Like it makes me. I'm like I don't like everybody having so much access to me. Everybody at my job now has my phone number. I can't take it. So
You crack me up.
so the other day when I wasn't at work, my coworker had to give my information to the head of our mall management because I need to be able to contact somebody who's in charge. And she messaged me and she goes, I'm so sorry because I know you don't like anybody contacting you, but I had to give you your phone number. And she felt so bad. And I read that message. I was like, yeah, that's a shame. Why do I give off this like, that I don't want to talk to anyone? I can talk to people, I can, but this is me working on myself. This is what I'm working on. That's I'm letting this guard down, and I'm being almost forced in these situations where I have to open my heart because it's showing that like this is the kind of person I need to be in this chapter of my life. I need to be more open. I need to be more accepting. I need to be more forgiving. I need to be, and that's not only to other people, but that's to myself. So in the same time, I'm learning things about myself, how to properly love myself in these situations. But also when I love myself more in this role that I'm in, I'm able to give more to the position and the people who I'm helping. So it's a there's ebbs and flows to this, but pray for me, y'all.
I can relate to that so much, but the exact opposite. That's what's cracking me up so much is that I also feel like right now I'm being forced into specific situations where I need to guard myself. I need to guard my heart. I need to guard my family. I need to, now that sounds very dramatic, guys, we're fine. Okay. There's nothing like life threatening happening. We're good. But I just mean, like, as someone who has been an open book for all of their like teenage years and childhood and all these things, it can be very counterintuitive to be like, I need to say no. I need to put this boundary up. I need to put this guard up. And there's something that just like pulls inside of me that's like, but I can. And it's like, no, put your hand down. It's going to be okay. Everyone's going to figure it out. No one's going to think you're a bad person for not being able to help with this thing. And again, this is why therapy is a goal for 2025, because we got to break it all down and figure out why we tick the way that we do. But yeah, I never thought about that. And I love our opposite sides of the coin. Maybe that's why we work together so well. Because I'm the one who's like, oh yeah, girl, let's do it. And then you're like, honey, let's sit down and think about this for a minute.
I'm very much like that, but it comes from just a place of these situations, like you said, trigger us in different ways that bring up these responses. But self-love is looking at these situations and realizing that you need to grow from these situations, and that doesn't make you a bad person. It just means that you're still learning and growing, and that's where the self-love isn't selfish comes into it, because it's all about reflection. You're looking at these moments and you're taking a look at yourself and you're like, wow, this needs to change so I can be a better person. And that's really what it comes down to.
Hi, everyone. It's Jess checking in mid-episode. I hope you're enjoying this week's topic just as much as we are enjoying chatting about it. Right now would be a really great time to take a little break, get a drink of water, and to follow Plan With Us podcast on all of our platforms. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get a notification every time a new episode goes live. You can also get exclusive content, updates, and clips from our favorite moments over on Instagram. You can find us on both of those platforms at Plan With Us Pod. Leaving a review on your favorite podcast listening platform is also a great way to show us support. We appreciate every single review that is left, and we appreciate every single one of you. So without further ado, let's jump back into the episode. Taking the note that you were just talking about, and I know I've mentioned this in the podcast before, but this was truly a big moment for me and like my self-love, self-discovery journey. If you struggle with looking at yourself in the way that you are today, and you're like, this is imperfect, and I don't like this, and I don't like that, and you have a lot of that negative self-talk, think about the ideal version of yourself, that person that you love, that doesn't look like the person you are now. And then every single day, you can make a very small step in pushing yourself to become that person. And I'm talking like minuscule, tiny little step. If you think about like your highest self, you think about the ideal version of you. Maybe, you know, she always has her nails painted, or like something like as trivial and silly as that. That's something you can sort of like start prioritizing in your life. And, you know, she always drinks her water in the morning. That can be an act of, you know, loving yourself. And at the same time, you're continuing to grow and transform into this person that you want to be. Coming to terms with who you are, the reality, looking in the mirror and still being able to say, I love that person, I'm proud of that person, is a life-changing aspect.
And these things come with practice. Like, you're not going to wake up one morning and be like, oh, I love myself. Everything's great. Like, I finally accept all this, whatever. No, it takes so much time. And even like every time we have a new episode and we talk about these different topics, I'm discovering more about myself and ways to understand how I can love myself better so I can be better for others too. And I think that it has improved my confidence in such a way that makes me, like, even when we did like our proud of me jobs, I'm thinking about that. That is such a big form of self-love for 2024, because it allowed me to reflect on the good that I've done in a world where I feel like I'm so terrible. If that makes sense, where I wake up and I feel like I haven't done enough and I'm not good enough. And I say these things to myself, which is terrible. But then that allowed me to then reflect and say, no, like, you did amazing. You do amazing things. And you have to love and be proud of those things. It comes with self-gratitude, and there's so many things that come into play with this, but it's really the different tools you can use to practice these things. I love how you talked about visualizing your ideal self, creating your own archetype almost, with, yes, I'm that girl that keeps herself together, that girl that is active every day, that girl that hydrates herself, that girl that cooks good meals at home, the girl that has an amazing garden and knows how to take care of it, but also take care of herself. Like, these are the ideal things that we want, of course, and they're not all achievable in a small amount of time. So you need to practice them slowly. And also, then if you don't do them every single day, it's not bad. Like, you're not failing. You're not, you're not starting from zero and starting all over. Like, it takes time, and that's all a part of the journey right there.
You can hear many different topics and things from a lot of our different episodes sort of coming together as we're talking about this, because this really is the core of it all. And the bottom line is that self-love is a process, not a destination. It is all about the journey. Like, there's, even when you're thinking about, that perfect version of you in the future, once you reach that perfect version, you're going to have a different perfect version that you're going to be reaching towards. So it might be discouraging to hear that you'll never be that perfect person, but I think it's very exciting. I think it's a huge opportunity to sort of be able to wake up every day and be like, I can do whatever I want with my day. And I can sort of configure my mindset around the opportunities that are presented before me. And I can be really excited about them. And I can do A, B, and C, and it's going to push me to be a better person.
Yeah, and I love that so much because I feel like as humans, we are obsessed with the end destination. We're obsessed with the end result. And we feel like once we get there, that's the win, but the win is getting there. And I loved everything you just said just now, because like the self-love is what you said, the journey, not the
Self-love,
end.
self-love is a process, not a destination.
It's a process, not a destination. And we fear process and progress because we think that these moments are like too slow. We are so scared of the journey because we don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know what's going to happen. And we feel like if it's not going the way we think and it diverts from what we think we have to be, then it's not good. But that process is so wonderful because, like you said, like you could do anything you want. Anything can happen. You could make anything happen. Your dreams can happen, but you have to love the journey you're on, because otherwise, when you get to that destination or whatever it is that you said is that result that you want, and when you get there and you're not satisfied, then what was the point of anything that we are doing to get there? So this self-love, like really unlocking your own self-love journey, will make you happier no matter where you end up, because wherever you end up is where you're supposed to be, not even just what you think. So I don't know if that makes sense. I'm trying to talk it
Girl,
through.
you are preaching right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I am deeply resonating with what you're putting down. I think that makes
Yes.
a lot of sense. Yeah, and it also makes me think of like those, I guess it would be a meme, more of like a graph where they're like progress is not linear, and they'll be like what we think progress is, and it's a perfect upward slope. And then they say what progress actually is, and it's a squiggly line, and it's up down, and it's curly cueing, and it's just crazy, because that is true. Wherever the journey takes you, it's going to be a beautiful thing, but it's not always up and up. And I think a big part of truly having a good sense of self-love for yourself is believing in yourself, whether you're all the way at the top of the scale or whether you're all the way at the bottom or you're somewhere in between. And as long as you have your own back while all that is happening, you're going to like where you end up.
Yes. Yes.
We're feeling hype. We're excited about it. Yes.
Yes. We love this kind of stuff. This is really getting into, I feel like this season 2 of Playing With Us Pod is really like getting into the nitty gritty of what we love so much.
Oh, we're coming out with some heavy hitters right away. Like I said, we cannot take a lighthearted conversation, and we need to make it all about, our life's purpose and journey and goals and things like that. But yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about some activities people can use to start prioritizing working on their self-love. If this is a whole new concept to them, and they're like, I never really thought about it, but I don't really like the way that I speak to myself. What are some things that they can do to start?
It does start with, like we said before, it starts with that reflection, because you have to look and see, like, well, what have I been doing that's not helping, And what can I do to change that? Yeah, speaking to yourself is an amazing way to start, and it can feel silly. It can feel like, why am I sitting here saying I love myself? Like, you have to change that mindset. Your mind's not going to click with it right away, but your words have such power that when you do start speaking to yourself, you'll start to believe it. Um, we just had an activity at our workshop
Hold on.
that
I was
we
about to say, I had a note at the beginning of this podcast that we need to recap the whole workshop, and we did not talk about it at all.
we got into it, girl.
We got right into it. All right. Next episode, before we get into the topic, we're going to have a whole breakdown of our workshop. But yes, I know what you're about to say and continue to talk about what happened at the workshop.
Yeah, we should probably do just a whole episode on the workshop breakdown, because the whole reason I bring this up is because we made a workbook, and at the end of the workbook, we have a whole page on affirmations. And it's an amazing way to end it, because you have to put things on there and speak to yourself, to speak this like life and love into yourself so you can achieve your goals. Because you can reflect, you can write goals down, you can make a plan, you can do all this stuff, but then you cannot believe it. And you won't go forward with it if you don't speak these things over yourself. So, affirmations and positive self talk, I think, is probably one of the best ways to start your self love journey. Like, I just think the power of speaking is so, I mean, speaking is such a powerful tool. And so speaking over yourself with these words of love and acceptance of who you are in this present moment is the best way to get yourself started.
Affirmations are incredibly powerful. And I know we've all heard this practice before, but we've heard, even at our workshop, we had a woman talking about this, where she has post-it notes on her mirror of different words that she wants to affirm to herself. And I think that's a perfect place to start, even if you feel silly. If you're deeply resonating with this right now and you're like, I need to change the way I'm speaking to myself, get some post-it notes, write down some affirmations. I am smart. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am confident. Whatever. After you've done your reflection, think about the intentions that you want to set for yourself. Write them on post-it notes, put it on your bathroom mirror, and every morning physically speak them out loud until you believe them. And it's not going to be an immediate thing, but I think that is a wonderful first step. And it does work. So you might think it sounds crazy, but it works.
If you aren't sure how to start these affirmations or where to pull these words from, an amazing thing that we did in our workbook is give, like, what would that be called? Like, not verbs, or like starters to
Prompts,
the
I
actual
guess you would say.
prompts. Thank you. We gave prompts to the word that you can fill in, so you can like understand how to speak it to yourself. So, uh, if I remember correctly, I think it's I am, I can, I will, and I deserve, I believe, are the four categories we broke it down, because those are different ways to, different prompts that really just help you find the words that you're looking for. And you don't have to use that, but if you don't even know where to start, like, start with those types of prompts. And you start with yourself, because you're speaking to yourself. So, I am beautiful. I will succeed. I can do anything I put my mind to. I deserve peace and love. Like, those types of those types of prompts will help you get to the affirmations that you need.
If you have already been on your self-love journey, just constantly sort of refreshing your routine, thinking about what's working for you, what's not, scheduling time for your self-care in there. You can listen to our whole last episode about rest and the different ways that you can, allow yourself to rest. Maybe you aren't giving yourself enough time to rest because you think you don't deserve it, which we had many conversations about in our last episode. Taking time for your hobbies. We love a hobby.
A vision board could be a good way to get started with self-love, because like you said, with visualizing your highest self, or that person you want to be, and you can't put it into words, looking at pictures to remind yourself of what it could be. Like you have it on your phone
Yes,
screen.
I do. I actually changed my phone background the other night, but I'm going to change it back right now because Tim and I, my husband and I, were looking at like old photos of ourselves and I found a cute one of him. So I changed it, but I just changed it back. There's my vision board. And Pinterest is the first notification on here because I was just about to say go on Pinterest and make yourself a Pinterest board. That could also sort of act as a vision board. And you can download those images and make a little background like I did, or you can print them out and physically put them on a board wherever you're going to see it constantly. And
Yes.
yeah, I think you could make an entire board entirely focused on self-love. If you put a couple of those affirmations on there, make it like fun little wall art. I'm currently doing a little like reorganization of my office. I don't know if the background looks a little bit different, but I'm looking at a spot like right above me right now. And I think I want to create something like that and put it right there.
I think that's the one of the biggest things too is the constant reminder, because you'll have moments where you had a bad day at work, or you got in an argument or things like that, and you just feel like the lowest of the low. But if you have these affirmations or these vision boards or these things that are constantly reminding you of who you are and that you need to love yourself, and even in those moments, it could be really powerful. You could probably just go to like a Staples or a Target or whatever, get like a cork board,
Mm-hmm.
hang it up, and it can be something you can also constantly be adding to it, things that you're learning as the year goes on. Or these things also never have to be complete or perfect. It's just something you're learning and growing with as time goes on.
I always really love looking at my vision boards like year after year and seeing uh, what I've accomplished, or I guess if we're talking about a self-love vision board, things that you feel more confident in, things that you feel stronger in, things that you feel like you can grow in more. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Once you start to see that progression, it can be very encouraging. And again, we love reflection, focusing on the things that you're strong in and how to make them stronger, and why those things are stronger for you versus the things that you feel that you're weaker in, and how the strengths can sort of be applied to those weaknesses. You can sort of bring them up. It's a lot of reflecting and a lot of thinking and a lot of things that we love to say over and over in this podcast.
Maybe for people who aren't so visual and you feel like creating something or writing things down or putting things up is too much for you, I wanted to get advice from a serial hobbyist, as someone who engages in activities that spark creativity and are at times of rest and reflection for yourself. How can you find self-love in a hobby?
Well, I feel like it is a lot of that giving yourself permission to rest and giving yourself permission to do something solely for the purpose of enjoying it, you know, coming to that realization of, yes, I'm not necessarily doing anything traditionally productive right now, but I love it and I love it for myself and I love the way that it makes me feel. For me, my favorite right now is crocheting. I love crocheting. It's very easy and fun to get into. We were talking about coloring books in our last episode, and you can even find coloring books that are specifically for like meditation, maybe ones that have affirmations within the coloring books, things like that. You can very intentionally go out and find something that has images in it that you sort of feel very much relate to your life, your own little vision. We said last episode, sort of going back to the things that you loved as a child, thinking about the things that brought you joy. And, we didn't even really think about like the value or the worth that we were bringing to anything as a child. We just loved ourselves and we loved doing it. So sort of thinking back to those activities that you loved to do.
We talked about that last episode, but I'm learning how to indulge in my hobbies to better take care of myself and love myself. But a way that I do show self love very well is through self care and pampering myself. It's really the fact that I do love myself that I will do whatever I need to do to take care of this body. For me, getting my hair done, washing my hair, having a great hair routine, doing my nails, having a great skincare routine, getting a massage if that's needed. Those are ways that I show myself self love. And I realize that that's probably the biggest way I show myself self love. I need to do more things for my mentality. But for this body, I care about this body very much. I'm learning to care about it more and more as I accept just what it looks like and what I have and things like that. But when it comes to caring for this body, I'm extremely serious about that. And I have this conversation with my husband all the time because we talk about caring for ourselves. And there's things that he doesn't prioritize that I feel like are just so important. But I realize for him, like he's on a self-love journey, understanding and taking care of his body, shows that he loves himself as well. Like we're trying to get to that place where he loves himself so these self-care routines don't feel like a chore because they shouldn't feel like a chore. Me getting up to walk, do my hair, wash my face, take everything shower, do all these things don't feel like chores. I feel like I am loving myself and taking care of myself. And a lot of times people will neglect that because they're like, yeah, I'm not that important. I don't need to have nice clothes or, put on a good outfit. I don't care if this shirt is dirty. I don't care if my nails are filthy, whatever. It's literally not about being narcissistic. It's about caring for the body that you have. And a lot of times people can take that wrong because they're like, if you only care about your looks, then you don't really care about other people or care about yourself, things like that. But this comes from the self-love part, that it's not selfish, that it's not selfish to care about how you look. And not in a way to be like, I have to look better than anybody or I think I'm better than anybody. So I love myself. So I will make sure I look my best.
I think that's a big difference, is not thinking yourself better than anyone else for doing these things.
Mm-hmm.
If you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, that girl doesn't, like, her lips aren't perfectly glossed and she has like flyaways, and I'm so much more elite because, I take care of these things. No. That's not what we're saying at all. If you're having a bad day and you're feeling bad about yourself and you take an everything shower, you feel like a whole new person. Okay, I think absolutely everyone can agree with that bare minimum. I was having a conversation with some coworkers the other day and they were commenting on my skin and they were complimenting it, being very complimentary, which is very sweet of them. And they were asking me about my skincare routine. I was telling them what I do. And they were like, how much time does this take you? And I was like, oh, it takes me like 5-10 minutes in the morning, probably about the same at night. And they're like, I can't do that. Oh my gosh. I'm like, but it doesn't feel like a chore. It feels like something like, that's my time. That's my self-love time. That's the time where I'm thinking about that version of myself that I want to be. I'm thinking about the things I want to do that day. It's a meditation for me. And yes, I'm getting nice external benefits from it, but honestly, that's the least of the things that I'm thinking about. It's really taking that intentional time to take care of this body that I know I only have one and it's very precious to me.
You are prioritizing yourself so that you can step out in the world and be the best version of yourself, even if it's just for that day. You doing that skincare routine is that act of self-love that either when you're finishing off the day to go to sleep and be well rested and ready for the next day, or even the morning routine, because you know that once I take care of this, once I take care of myself, and I love on myself, then I can go out into the world and do what I need to do. That's me putting on a outfit. That's me getting dressed. Like there's moments where I'm like, oh, it's too lazy, I don't care. Like I'll throw something on, but no, when I want to feel good and something that lifts my spirits is putting on a good outfit. And we've talked before about how I'm a fashion girly, how I just love clothes because it really just ignites my love for myself. Like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm stylish. And of course, again, I always feel like I have to apologize for the way I speak with my confidence or how I speak, how I'm speaking, like hyping up myself, because it's hard for us as humans to compliment ourselves and say what we're good at and what we like and what takes care of ourselves. We feel like we're being so selfish and self-centered, but I'm really not. Like I like looking nice. It makes me feel good so I can go out in the world and do what I need to do. at my job, we had a uniform for a couple months, and I would feel terrible. And I would go to work, I wouldn't be able to perform. I'd be the worst version of myself because I just didn't feel good because couldn't wear things that allowed me to express myself, feel good about myself. But once I was allowed to wear my own clothes, I felt so good. I performed better at work because I was taking care of myself first, then putting myself out into the world.
Other people might think putting focus on those things is silly, and that's okay because they're on a different level of their journey than we are. And I'm not saying we're more advanced. I'm not saying, we're better. No, we're just prioritizing different things. Someone might not prioritize putting on an amazing outfit every day or making sure they're getting their full skincare routine in, but they're prioritizing other things that make them feel true and genuine to who they are, or I hope they are, that they're continuing to progress and work on it. And yeah, everyone's sort of in their own place on their own journey, focusing on their own things.
Yeah, for sure. Something else that came to mind, a quick story is I work at a mattress store. I sell mattresses, but we sell what are called luxury mattresses. So the price point is a little higher. And a lot of times when people are buying a mattress, they think like just get the cheapest thing, whatever. I can sleep on anything. I don't care. Like just give me the cheapest thing. Because it's not because mattresses are a lot of money. So when they come in our store, they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I can sleep on anything. I don't care. Just what's the cheapest thing you have." And it's interesting because the company wants us to change people's mindset about like wellness when it comes to your sleep. And I always bring up truly to them a self-love and self-care aspect of sleeping. Because I'm like, well, you came in the store obviously because you need something better because what you have isn't working and it's not treating your body. So why would you go for something just because it's cheap and easy? I understand finances, but let's look at things that actually will help you so you can better take care of yourself. So when you're waking up, you're you're a fully a better person after a good night's rest. So I had this couple come in the other night, and the male partner, I'm not sure if it was husband, boyfriend, whatever, was the one buying it. And he knew what he wanted, he knew what he liked, but then when he would ask his female partner, she'd be like, I don't care, I can sleep on anything, who cares? But he took the moment and be like, no, what will help best take care of your sleep? I want you to figure that out. And in her mind, she was like, I never thought to think about myself. I'm just happy to have a bed, but he's letting me think about what feels good to me so that I can be the best version of myself. And that was her stepping into her own self-love and realizing, oh, maybe I do want this, or maybe I do need this a little softer, or maybe I do need support when I do this. She had to fully think about herself, and it made her uncomfortable in that moment. But it was so important for her to put herself first because they are spending a lot of money on this bed. And he was like, if it's going to be good for me, I want it to be good for you too. So you have to tell me what you need. And for her, that was like such a big deal because she felt like she was being selfish if she had a preference on the kind of mattress that they bought. But really, that was her giving herself a moment of self love and understanding what she needed so they can get the perfect bed. And it was such an interesting dynamic. Even in moments like that, people don't think about that. But it wasn't selfish of her to do it. It's her to make sure she can be the best version she can be. So when they make the purchase, it all makes sense.
Especially when it comes to thinking about things that we think are silly. And, why are we dedicating so much time to reflect on these things and the way we feel and these acts that aren't necessarily productive and things like that. But when you seriously stop and think about how it all sort of connects, and your sleep is a huge one, maybe that's something that you need to do for your self-love journey is really think about the rest that you're giving yourself. Are you giving yourself quality rest at night? Because it truly impacts so many aspects of your health, of your mindset, of your day. Really thinking about how these different activities and the things that we do trickle into all other elements of our lives is crazy.
Your self love is so important that when you're thinking about the things you purchase in your life or the people you bring in, you really have to think like, I need to invest in this aspect of my life so I can be the best I can be. If you cheap out on everything or cut corners or don't prioritize yourself, then you're really not helping anyone. We will spend the money on like skincare or good skincare, even though it's a little pricier or things like that, because we are realizing well, I need to go ahead and invest in this thing that I know will take the best care of me. And even if to somebody else it seems frivolous and useless and they don't understand, no, I need to invest in this for myself. And that just comes from really putting yourself first. And we're so afraid of that because we're afraid of the outside perception of I'm so selfish or people will think I'm this, think I'm that. But it's not about the people. It's not about what people think of you. It's about what you think of yourself. And if to be the best version of yourself means that you need to put yourself first and prioritize and invest in what will take care of yourself the best, then that's what you got to do.
Yes, girl. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving this.
We can end it with any of your self-love favorite practices or tools or things that you specifically use.
I personally had a battle with negative self-talk that I believe that I am overcoming. Now when I look at myself in the mirror, I thankfully have more nice things to say than negative things. And it hasn't always been that way. Again, not to say that I'm, the most beautiful ethereal thing that ever walked the planet. I don't think that at all. But I do think that I look at myself in the mirror and I like the person that I see and I like the things that she's doing, which speaks volumes. The intentional looking at yourself in the mirror and finding 3 nice things to say about yourself is a huge one. Paying attention to my needs. Like I said before, if you are feeling just like not confident, you don't feel great about yourself, when's the last time you took a good everything shower? Because I will stop myself and be like, when's the last time I really took a nice, luxurious amount of time to pamper myself in a way that can seem sort of impractical? I said last episode that that's one of my favorite forms of rest is taking a luxurious amount of time to get ready for an event that isn't necessarily fancy. Taking time to move my body, my hot girl walks that I'm severely missing right now since it's been so freaking cold. But the sun is up past 5 p.m. now, so we're on the up and up. But yeah, I would say those are some examples of things that I felt like are really transformative.
I think a lot of the things that you said resonate with me as well. But yeah, the self-destructive self-talk is something I'm constantly learning to overcome. The practicing of seeing myself in the mirror, but also I have my affirmation sheet that I often look at. And then right next to my bed is my vision board that I made at our event last year. So when I wake up, it's the first thing I see. And there's positive words on it. There's pictures of strong women. Like it just, when I get up, I'm like, that's you, girl. That's it. Other ways of practicing self-love is we have our walking pad. I don't know if you saw it when you came over. That thing is out front and center. You can't ignore that thing. That thing is out. So I was like, you know what? Let me just get on this. Walk a little, put my show on. I'm showing myself love with taking care of my body. It's slow, easy steps. Drinking my water is one of my biggest ways of self-love. Keep myself hydrated. I fill this thing up every day. Drink that whole thing. Maybe like ways I want to get better with self-love are my hobbies. I'm still figuring that out and learning how to do it in a way that makes me feel okay in the moment. I'm still very hard on myself when I'm not working or being productive. So that's something I'm focusing on. That's how I'm going to improve my self-love for 2025.
The specific of allowing yourself to like sit and have a moment of rest, I feel like has been a big thing for me over the past year or two. And I feel like I'm significantly better at it. I'm not perfect at it though. I definitely have days where I'll be really down on myself because I wanted to get more done or I wanted to do this or I wanted to do that. And I sort of need to sit myself down and be like, it's okay. Or my husband will love to tell me all the time, like, it's okay that this didn't get done today. We're going to wake up tomorrow and, we're going to do our best. We're going to put our best foot forward. So it's a constant journey for sure. We're going to keep growing and we're going to keep getting better. And you guys watching and listening, let us know how you want to improve and what really resonated with you today. And we're going to continue to keep growing together.
Let us know some of your self-love practices or maybe any of these things that we mentioned that you do in your life. We would love to hear about them so we can understand like different tools and rituals that help us love ourselves better.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Thank you for coming along on this conversation with us, even though we knew it was going to be sort of deep and all over the place. And you know us, well, give us like a little bit of a prompt and we'll just talk for an hour straight. So I didn't expect anything less, but I loved the conversation. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Follow us on Instagram to get all of our fun exclusive content, episode highlights, all of those things.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Take time to love yourself this month and every month, but this is Love Month. Don't forget about yourself. And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Yeah, treat yourself a little extra special this month. You deserve it. Happy Love Month, everybody.
Happy Love Month. Millennial Hearts.
Millennial Hearts. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Or sooner if you're following us on socials, so you better.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.